awesome. I hope you're open-minded and ready to learn and ask questions and grow tonight. This is Outlet College Ministry, for those of you who don't know me. It's been a part of Georgia State for years. We meet every Monday night in this room at 7 o'clock. We always have dinner and then Bible study at 7:30. So feel free to come in the following weeks for this semester. And I'll turn it over to Sharice.
Well, like Jazz just said, I want to welcome everybody to come out and welcome all you beautiful people. Everybody's ready for Valentine's Day? No. No. Jesus loves you, so you should be happy about Valentine's Day. Well, we're going to kick this night off. It's going to be a lot of fun. I want you to get loose and comfortable. This is a family. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight. So we're going to start off the night with some spoken word, and I want to introduce to you all Cyrus. Woo! Poet.
I love abstract. Every time I do poetry someplace and she's there, you always know she's in the building. She was like, "Spit, poet." I was kind of stuck between a few different pieces or whatever, so I guess I'll just kind of flow with, I'll just kind of run with it, see how I feel. All right, so, once upon a time, long ago, in a land not so distant, were warriors on a mission, and these warriors were vicious. They rode into battle on the back of a stallion, outnumbered by their enemies 3-1, but they fought with valiance. They were swift like an eagle, their swords cut like its talons, covered in their enemy's blood with a princess in their castle with their medallion. Each man was a knight in shining armor, and each knight had a princess. But don't get it twisted, princess was locked away, but far from being in distress. She just stressed the importance of not having her time wasted by little boys. So she built castle walls to block out those who spit game with poise. Princess didn't want to hear that noise. She recognized those boys, it was just a game. So she'd wait for a man who'd fight like crazy for her because true love looks insane. Yes, she was a beauty, but developing her character was her duty. Becoming educated, driven, and well-mannered. So what a mirror on the wall thought she was a cutie. As often as she combed her hair, she'd comb through a book. She frequently exercised her body as well as her ability to cook. Happily a prisoner of this castle, developing herself to one day develop her family. And after fighting through hordes of defenses, he yells up to her window at his bride-to-be. "Here I am, my lady. I have trained all my life for this one single moment. My hands appear powerful to crush my enemies, but really, they're for your heart that I'll be holding. My voice is a war cry, but not just to be heard while I fight off defenses, but to be distinct to your ears when I command your attention. I fought through the trenches, but to get to you, I must find a way to get up there. Wait, I know a shortcut to the room. I know we shouldn't do this, but let down your hair." It was tempting, but skipping the process was something Princess refused to do. She said, "No, I want you. But we both know that first there are tougher foes that you need to fight through." See, the first wave of monsters were actually her friends. The tougher ones inside the castle were actually her kin, her brothers and sisters. I'd be remiss to not mention that most little boys wouldn't even bother to fight to get to the castle, let alone confront the dragon on the inside, aka her father. Yes, this is clearly the story of a time long ago when a man would prove to others he could really love her before he was even chose. And a woman developed herself, not to prove she didn't need a man, but to be better equipped to help her future family accomplish their plans. So friends, protect her. And I don't mean by cock blocking, but protect her by helping and guarding and watching. Because the most valuable things in the world are guarded and protected. The Mona Lisa, the president, the Dead Sea Scroll collections. So ladies, be checking. If his homeboys are dogs, he won't be too different from his friends. If you believe his tales very well, just know those fairy tales are pretend. And for the princess and the knight, a plot twist. They ran into more problems than you would think, but they were able to make it through because Christ was the ocean that they sailed on. And they did not sink. Thank you. I appreciate it. I want to let y'all know it's kind of like that's like a Love Jones thing. You know, you snap like during the poem. Right. Like somebody says something, you're feeling it, you kind of snap, or you like, or you make some reaction during the poem. You can actually even yell out rewind if they say a line is really dope, and you're like, "Oh my God, my friend wasn't listening." You like, "Girl, that line was for you." You know, you can yell out rewind, and then like the poet has to go back and say the line over again and kind of go back into that. So the snaps are usually during the poem. Afterwards, you can clap. Oh, so it's kind of a misconception. Okay, cool. All right, so this is one last poem I get out of you all's way. Oh yeah, really quickly again, she said my name is Cyrus, but I actually go by Cyrus Speaks. Please say it with me. Cyrus Speaks. One more time. That's Cyrus Speaks. My Instagram is Cyrus Speaks. My Facebook is Cyrus Speaks. My website is CyrusSpeaks.com. So Abstract knows there's a really amazing poet, Real Talk Raps. He kind of coined that little jitter to kind of help people memorize like names and things. So that's something I picked up on. I got his approval, so that nobody be coming at me like going to him like Cyrus taking your little jingle. So yeah, so Cyrus Speaks where y'all can find me at. So anyway, I'm going to jump into this last poem, and this poem is entitled Double Standards. Damn, So, if a doctor points out your obvious condition, do you acknowledge his diagnosis or do you scoff and dismiss him? Because this is from the bottom of my heart. I'm just trying to give wisdom, but I'm starting to see that the truth hurts, and most can't bear the pain to even listen. Ladies, I promise you I'm not dissing, but can you please tell me what is happening to the dignity of women? Now, I know we're not the same shape, so it may not be right that I confront you. Maybe I should have left this up to a female poet who wouldn't back down on truth. No matter my angle, I still feel cornered, but this edgy topic won't keep me boxed in. I'm not kin. So I'll do my best to not be dull as I begin. My heart was broken when I heard Keke Palmer's new music. She said she'd rather bolt than apply her feelings to the guy she was screwing. Amber Rose provided the tools that hit the nail on the head. Yeah, she made it concrete with her famous slut walk that being ashamed to sleep around with everyone has become dead. So wake up if you think this is some bull. Dozers can't see the enemy's constructions working. This ain't a drill. I saw girls bragging on whose race is the best at twerking, celebrating side chicks and one-night stands, and encouraging stripping as a great business plan. And the list continues on and on and on, but I'd be wrong if I didn't admit, ladies, I understand. I understand all your lives you've had these double standards placed on you by men. Telling the girls to have one partner while telling the boys to get it in. If a dude only has one girl to sleep with, he must be down on his luck. But if a girl sleeps with two men in the same month, she gets labeled a slut. I understand that you're tired of flirtatious boys telling you, man, get out your feelings. As if getting in your feelings is not what's supposed to happen when you're spending time with someone and chilling. We force-fed y'all tough words not meant to digest in your emotional abdomen. I understand. The boys have told you to toughen up, and now we want to complain, man, women starting to act too masculine. I understand that boys have gently entered your bodies and ripped themselves from your life expeditiously. I understand and I'm sorry. But finding boys with low morals is no reason to lose all of your dignity. No, I don't support double standards. I stand hard against uneven odds. And I do believe that men are called to set the example, but the standard has already been set by God. Now, I'm sure you window shop religions, and Christianity may not seem fashion for women. But if you think it's tailor-made to suit men's wants, you're tripping. But let me guess, you can't express how many dudes you see model this true religion. And every Mark Jacob and Ray bans gender equality in the name of being Christian. Do y'all think I's odd and then these double standards this time's four? Check it. They just do it because it's their pride of life. They rather bald man because bald is life. And they want to be like Michael, of course. But they're just full of hot air. Those air apostles just want to be a huge Joe boss. So don't run away. I can show you there's a gap between boys you should lay away and men who model the cross, even if you feel lost. Half naked leaving some dude's house in your walk of shame. Understand that Jesus was stripped naked as he carried his cross for you. He was shamed for your shame. You want to talk a slut walk? I promise you ain't seen one quite like Rahab the prostitutes.
Rewind.
You want to see a slut walk? I promise you ain't seen one quite like Rahab the prostitutes. But even she was able to change the direction of her route when she heard the good news. Or the woman at the well who had slept with so many different men. Jesus showed her he's who her soul was thirsting for, and she repented of her sins. Or how about that woman that those dudes were slut-shaming? You know, the woman that was caught in adultery? Jesus exposed those men in the double standards of their sins, and they all turned and fled. See, double standards were created to appease men's insecurities. But while men really call women to monogamy, God calls all of us to purity. But if your ratings seem low, it's probably because your TV shows broken women who ain't sitcom. Basketball wives who loving hip-hop, hoping to become some rappers' baby moms. They're bad news anchors women to lowly beings, Mary Jane. Got you killing your morals. I swear it's like they teach how to get away with murder. It's the game. They say you want a good man, be luscious. Don't act like a rookie. Because baby girl, if you waiting for a man to build you up an empire, you have to give him some cookie. We won. They say if you want a good man, be luscious. Don't act like a rookie. Because baby girl, if you're waiting for a man to build you up an empire, you have to give him some cookie. But I'm here to tell you that God is raising up gladiator men who will be 613 their flesh. Men who have no Olivia in their sheets so their life stays scandalous. And yes, I do believe that men are called to set the example for you. But please don't let the reality of some promiscuous boys make a broken girl out of you. You are rightfully sick and tired of holding up the standard for these sorry men. But ask yourself, are you doing it just to attract a godly man or truly to please the God of men? Because even up in church, you're going to find some dudes that have these double standards. While God is calling both men and women so much higher, he doubles standards. Present your body as a living sacrifice. This is a blessing for us. It is not a chore. Because you will find many will walk in shame with those standards, but God has not changed in telling you, do not lower yours.
That boy good. All right, let's give it up for Cyrus Speaks. One more time. All right, right now I'm going to open the floor to Ms. Sesset for some spoken word as well.
How y'all doing? Y'all doing good? My name is Sasset West. I am the president of the spoken word team for OCM here. We're called As Is. If you have any questions about that, please feel free to walk up to me. I'm going to speak to y'all for a second. Is that okay? Okay, so when I first started my Christian walk, one of the biggest things that I struggled with was hearing God speak. I would always ask, well, what does he sound like? And how do I know it's God speaking and not me speaking? Like, how do you hear that? And even to this day, I struggle with it. But it took me about 3 years to understand what I'm going to put in one poem for y'all. And it's that God will only speak to you in a way that you will understand. And when he does speak to you, you won't have to question it. You will know. And after that, you will begin to trust whatever that voice is for you more and more and more. So that's what this piece will explain. This is called God Sent Me an Angel. It's my very first time performing this piece ever, so y'all bear with me. True story. July 26, 2015. A little after 5 p.m. in a cramped Delta Airlines lobby, God sent me an angel. To my disbelief, he wore golden chains, a black tee, and a fro as high as the heavens. Now, I always thought my angel would speak only in biblical verses and have some type of white glowing aura surrounding their presence, but nah, see, my angel could quote Tupac Shakur and say, you feel me? With the vernacular of a native Atlanta king, he puzzled me. But see, when God needs you to hear a message, he communicates it in the best way you can understand. So there we were. In the midst of first names I'll never remember and autobiographic introductions of people I never asked to meet, he looked at me. And his first words were, you're safe. He claimed he could see pain in my smile and feel the exhaustion under my eyes. He smelled weakness in my utterances and heard my spirit mumble secrets I've never told. We stood in a room of walking billion-dollar ambitions while my only 5-year plan was to taste a smile that had never kissed him before. Wow. I admit, I was still wearing my last relationship like hand-me-downs, like it never was really made to fit me, but I can't afford to lose anything else. Then he told me depression looked horrible on me. I didn't know from that moment he wouldn't go away. We ruined preconceived formulas on how long trust should take. He knew my deepest secret by the 9th day. He just wanted to see me in the best way, made me forget about what my ex say. We broke down my defensive walls into pieces of 2 a.m. conversations, roller coaster rides, and some of the best food Atlanta has to offer. Had me questioning when's the last time I've ever laughed this much. Help me sort out the people that fade my color and told me I didn't have to be ashamed of my dirty laundry. You be recovery. We dusted the cobwebs off my secrets, hunted like barbarians in search of my smile,
Come on.
and made a game of Marco Polo out of it. I never could control my laughter with you. You read me as if you wrote my entire biography. Having Braille on my heart never felt so good. You helped turn my stained glass heart into a work of art and helped me find home in my temple. You be vacation. You made me believe that the ghetto does still produce gods. Your intelligence alone brings back flights of butterflies to the pit of my stomach. You protect me as if you already know that my tough shell has pearls hidden inside. I didn't have to tell you that. You constantly remind me that God got my back. I've never received the rule book, but I'm pretty sure falling in love with your angel is prohibited somewhere on page 9. So no, we can't play footsie under the table while saying grace, even though, yes, God's grace never ceases to amaze me. Right before I lost my faith, he sent you wrapped in second chances. I lost a lover, so a best friend is what he gave me. And I don't believe in negotiations with God, but I'll ask him if we can revisit page 9. If I can clear a pathway of passion back to heaven for you in exchange for nights so good we can barely remember, frappuccinos in the morning and a few forevers. How can I not pray for forevers when you make every single day feel like July 26, 2015, a little after 5 p.m., when God sent me an angel? To my disbelief, you wore golden chains, a black tee, and a fro as high as the heavens. I didn't expect God's mercy to be fluent in the language of art, have a criminal record of life's lessons, and a tongue slicker than the Mississippi River. But I guess when God needs you to hear a message, he communicates it in the best way you can understand. Thank you. Woo!
Thank you, Sensei. Y'all just got me going. How y'all feel that? Yeah. All right, no further ado, let me welcome to our panelists up. We're going to start our program for this evening. I know we have a lot of questions brewing inside, so let me move out the way and welcome our panelists to the stage. Each of you could just briefly introduce yourself and then tell us what Ruth meets Boaz means to you.
My name is Kenyon D. Martin. I am obviously a speaker, author, and relationship consultant. I work with a lot of people. A lot of people come to me for relationships, and that has to do with my background in theology as well as counseling. However, I never really stand on that because I know that all of us have been in positions where we fail. And so I always say that my dirt keeps me grounded, meaning that I stay transparent. Because we've all failed, you know what I mean? And so that's just a little bit about me. As far as Ruth and Boaz is concerned, it means so much more than what we think it means. I think it's been over-marketed and commercialized. And I think if we really, really dig deeper into the story, we'll realize I don't think we need to be looking at Boaz. I think we need to be looking at Ruth and where she is. And if you really, really, really want to put yourself in Ruth's shoes, you've got to be careful what you're doing.
Well, my name is Mike Lewis. I do videography. Some of the artists I work with is Travis Green, Derek Miner, Cannon, and some other folks. And also, do graphics and photography as well. And really, that's pretty much all what I do. And I'm gonna just get to it. But Ruth meet Boaz to me is, I don't know, it's just like, it's a lot of good stories that deal with like a man and a woman coming together, because, dealing with the different walks of life. But it just reminds me about Ruth though, just like how you were saying, focusing on Ruth, because I was just thinking about her faith, you know, and it's a faith journey. So that's what I feel that what Ruth meets Boaz to me is that faith journey.
But hi everybody, my name is Wugochi Alice Lewis. I go by Alice. I know a few of y'all from Hair, Makeup, and Ministry and me partnering with OCM here on campus. I am a professional hair and makeup artist. We do Bible studies here every other Thursday, including this Thursday coming up. So women, it's a ladies' life group pretty much. Like we get together, talk about Christ, we talk about beauty, encouragement. So I'll just see me after. I'll explain more because I don't want to go into that right now. But for Ruth meets Boaz, I like what my first brother said, including what my husband said, focusing on Ruth. Only because like with her, like before I got married, I looked up to Ruth as from a Bible perspective. Like I really looked up to her as a woman in the Bible because she actually went out and she worked. And for those of y'all, first of all, how many of y'all are familiar with the story of Ruth and Boaz? Like raise your hand. Raise it. Proud. Okay, good. So y'all are a lot of y'all are familiar, but for those of y'all who are not familiar, Ruth, she actually went out and she did the work. Like she didn't go out doing the work expecting for somebody to find her, but it just so happened that her husband was there when she was out working. And for me, that's my story. Like when I met my husband, I was out working. I was doing hair and makeup at a Christian play, and I did not want to go to the play that day because I knew they were not paying me for one. And you know, you like your bread and butter, and when you're working for free, it's hard. You don't really have that motivation and whatnot to go forth and do things that you need to do. So that day I was kind of battling in my mind. I was like, God, I really don't want to go because I'm not getting paid. I could be doing this, I could be doing that, you know, but God was like, go, like do the hair and makeup and do it for free because I want you to do it. I want you to be out there serving. So I was like, okay, God, I'm gonna go and I'm not gonna do the hair and makeup for free just because, you know, it's something that I want to do, but I'm really gonna be doing it because in a way, I'm serving you. And when I think about it, I really compare myself to Ruth, and Ruth, she was out there working just like I was out there working, and that day I met my husband. And if I did not go to the play that day, and I did not work for free, if I decided to be, you know, lazy and put all the other things that I wanted to do besides what God wanted me to do, then I probably would have never met him, and we wouldn't be here today. So I praise God for that. That's my significance. That's what sticks out to me the most, because as women, like sometimes y'all gotta get out there. For those of y'all, first of all, I'm sorry, I'm going. No. Are you sure? Okay. Who's married in this room? Like women that's married. Okay, single women. Okay, women that's dating. You dating somebody.
Single for tax purposes.
Well, single. Right, legally you single, but if you're dating somebody, raise your hand. Like just dating in a relationship. Okay. All right, so a lot of y'all are single, and for you single women, getting out there and just doing whatever God calls you to do and being okay with that, like that's where it starts. It always starts with God. And like I have a thing with Hair, Makeup, and Ministry where I say the road to beauty starts with Christ. And that's true. That's true in every aspect in your life. Like whatever aspect in your life that needs work, it starts with God. It starts with Christ. So just want to say that.
If everyone who has Twitter, pull your cell phone out. If you have a question, you can hashtag us at Ruth Meets Boaz. So if you're a little embarrassed about your question, or you don't want to just shoot out your question and say it in front of everybody, you can follow us at OCM Talks and hashtag Ruth Meets Boaz. And I saw a few of you are very familiar with the story, so we're going to do one door prize right now for a trivia question. And the first trivia question I have is, what was the relationship of Naomi to Ruth? Was it a mother? Oh, okay. All right, tell me. Everybody not even looking multiple choice. I'll use her. No. Behind you. I'm sorry. We gotta give two door prizes.
No, give it. No.
You sure?
Yes.
No,
You said Naomi was her mother-in-law.
Yes. All right. Still on this. All right. So the first question I'm going to open up the floor with broad question, but just give us your truth. How do you know that that person is the one? Yeah.
How do you know?
Everybody says,
That's the one.
Well, I guess I could open it up. I figured out that this person was the one. Like I said, it just go back to some of the things that I asked God for. That, you know, one of the things I did ask God, and just being, you know, real transparent, is like, you know, anything, if I do find anybody, God, is I just hope that she can pray, you know. And some of the things that I asked God about, and when I stepped out and started serving and did the photography video for this play, that's when I ended up got introduced to Ugochi, and then she said that she had a prayer line. I said, oh, hold on, man. So as I, you know, and like I said, I told God, I said, you know, if anything, God, I don't want to move too fast or nothing. I'm gonna treat her like my sister, you know, anything, you know. So just, you know, see her as my sister first, and
He did.
and as, you know, some of the things come, you know, start to come along, and like I start to see her heart and her passion. And actually, that was one of our first conversations, was talking about her passion. So, and I feel like our passions start to come together, and I feel like, you know, this is something God like really divine made, and that's how I feel like what made I me feel that was the one, was, you know, how what God, you know, showed me and what I prayed. Yeah. Sure.
How I knew she was the one. That's my wife right there. How I know she was the one is because I was prepared for it. I was definitively prepared for it. I was in a place, just a brief story, I was in a place in my life where I decided that I did not want to date at all, period, point blank. And she just happened to come along and we had our conversations and things of that nature, and I protected her and things that was going on in our private life. However, I was personally prepared, meaning, number one, when I did date, I had a purpose for dating. I saw dating as a process rather than as a goal. I think dating is used too often as adolescent, because we're so used to making dating the goal, especially when you like, what, 13, 14, you hit puberty and you just want to see what the opposite sex is about.
Right.
You know, the goal is, can I get out there and touch him? But that's not the goal. Dating is never the goal, it's the process to the goal. And my goal was to be a husband. That was number one. Number two, I knew exactly what I was looking for. Not to the particulars of, well, I was very specific in what I needed. Like, I have a list. I created a definitive list. Inside that list, I broke down myself and my own weaknesses so I know what I needed. I needed somebody who could sing, because I can't sing. So, you know, for the Lord and stuff. I need to get him some honors, so, you know, I don't want to mess that up. But I knew exactly what I wanted. I mean, from intimacy to sex, everything. And what brought me there is because I've been in relationships where I didn't know what I wanted, and they broke me, and I broke other people. So that put me in a position to get educated on myself, educated on what I wanted, and to make sure that I was open and honest on the table with what I wanted with whoever I was with.
We talked a little bit about the process, dating, courting, preparation. What would be your sole piece of advice to college-age young adults about dating, the process towards marriage? What would you want to tell yourself at your college age?
Absolutely. The key in all of it, I mean, there are several steps that I have as far as the dating process, but if I could choose only one, have a goal. Don't go out there gambling. Don't gamble with your life. Don't gamble with your spirit. Don't gamble with your heart. Don't gamble with your sexuality. Do not gamble. All too often, we leave it up to chance. We leave it up to God. And I'm not saying God is not a part of the process, but when you stop taking accountability for the mistakes that you're making, you just hop into another mistake, one after the other.
Yes.
And God has given you the choices. So you have to take accountability, because when you take accountability, when you do mess up, you can participate in your own rescue. Just like Ruth. Ruth participated in her own rescue. She was rescued from poverty, she was desperate, and she needed someone. But she was only able to do that once she realized where she was, and she had to go to do it. That makes sense?
Come on, poet.
Oh, so I do want to open up the floor. Does anybody have any questions they want to ask the panel? Okay.
So nowadays we seem to have this culture of where like marriage is only a fantasy. And you're saying have a goal. So my goal in life, yes, I want to be a wife. I want to have a family. I want all of that. But how do you communicate something like that to somebody who is like, oh, we got to live in it now. Tomorrow's not promised. You know, they don't so like, how do you do that in this day and age?
Okay.
Well, I always, like I said, not to be too cliche, but I always go back to like 1 Corinthians chapter 13. Like, if anything, you know, they say love is patient, love is kind, you know, love is long suffering. And it goes back to, you know, not to rush things, but it takes time to know somebody. You know, like, I know the girl that I've been before her, you know, I tried to take the time, but she wasn't willing to take the time to know me. You know, and it's like, you know, okay, I don't want to rush things, but you know, she had her own little pace. But I thought that she didn't know who she was. So the biggest thing was like, in my college, you know, when I was going to college, you know, I did campus ministry. And at that time, I started to find out who I was. At first, I was just following everybody else, doing music, in the music scene, and, you know, tried to do football. But, you know, God, he altered my path. Because that's what I thought who I was. But once I started to really give my life to Christ, I took, you know, I was real humble. You know, I had a lot of humbling experiences in college. But, like, as I began humbled and I started to serve, that's when I started to see who I was. And start understanding some of the things, the goals that I need to set for myself, but you know, I can put it for others. Just like with Boaz, he couldn't get her no land if he wasn't prepared to be a landowner, you know, and doing what he did, because he knew himself. You know, so that's what I would say. Just know who you are, and whoever you know that's in the dating or courting season, they gotta know who they are. And that way y'all can understand and know where y'all going. So.
I can hit it. First thing I would recommend is get comfortable with your singleness.
Yes.
Singleness is not a curse. It is not a curse. Being single is not a curse. Far too often we're trying to fill a space, and when we're too busy filling the space, we can't set a standard. So what you want to do is you want to set a standard. You want to be a wife. That means your standard is a husband. When anyone comes below that standard, stay out the door. They're done. The problem with the dating process is if we're too busy trying to fill a space, then we're not really going through the process. We're playing with dating as makeshift marriages. You see what I'm saying? So we're investing into dating like it's a marriage, and we're giving so much, and then they're just not giving back, and we stuck. So here's what I do. When I introduce it, when I talk to, when I was dating, and about the second or third conversation, I'm always like, well, you know, it's been good knowing you, it's been good talking to you, I can't wait to see you again, blah, blah, blah. You know those late nights you hang up conversations. And I'll slip in, hey, listen, you know, I'm a husband. You know, I just feel husband in my gut. I'm just a husband. God made me for family. What do you think about that? How do you feel about that? Because what that does is that, number one, it puts an expectation out there for them to understand who you are. And then based on their response, we determine how I deal with them. The dating process is about disqualifying the unqualified.
Come on now.
And we misuse the dating process. We're too busy trying to fill space. And so once we reorganize our thoughts about the dating process, I think you'll be just fine with saying, okay, you're not what I'm looking for now. If that helps.
Just piggybacking off what he said. I always tell young ladies as well, like, don't be afraid to cut them loose. Like, if they're not, because a man, he will bend to what you need. Like, if that makes sense. Like, you're not gonna have to be trying to run after him and trying to wait on him and trying to, rush things or trying to, tippy-toe around certain questions or whatever. If it's like that, then you need to just cut him, snip, like he said, on to the next one. And I love what you said about the dating process. Like, it is about that. Like, finding if that person is not right for you, then it's okay. Like, move on to the next one. You understand?
I wanted to ask, I had a conversation about this actually. Because I hear you say move on to the next one. I heard you say, you want to, the young lady sets a standard as a wife, and if he's not a husband, cut him off. But what about the process of him getting there? So like, is it like, well, if he ain't a husband, I'm done. So now that makes young brothers, like, her standards are too high. She's not, and I think this brother said the lady before you didn't give you a chance to progress. She wasn't patient. So how if you just cut everybody off if they not the right one, how do we know if anybody ever progresses? Because I believe there's been times that I wasn't the man for somebody, but if they would have gave me time to progress and mature, then I could have became that. But if they're just gonna cut me off and go on to the next one,
I want to really dive into that because I really believe like there are no such thing as soulmates or like there's not a one person, right? Like there's not a one person for each person. You understand? And being that you asked that question, like it was like really like heavy on my heart because I was actually talking to my best friend about the same thing earlier, and it's like what I just told the sister right here, like you can't be afraid to cut that person loose because if you're so busy trying to, what's wrong with maturing on your own? Like in your season of singleness, like you need to be okay with getting ready and preparing yourself and, getting your credit right. So like when you do become a husband, you can buy a house. Seriously, like that's one thing. It's so many things, like even just being a wife, like people, like you want the ring, but it's like in your season of singleness, you need to be preparing for what comes with when you get that ring. Like it's a lot of things that come, like you have to be mature to, like what if another woman is, looking at your husband? You understand what I'm saying? Like how do you handle that situation? Like in your season of singleness, a lot of times like God will begin to prepare you, but sometimes we're so busy like dating, going out with, random guys, going out with random girls because we don't want to be lonely or it's fun to be in a relationship. It becomes a social thing that we're not preparing ourselves for marriage. We're not preparing ourselves for that, what God has called us to, and that is marriage. Like God did not call us to date and, be social and have fun with other men and women. Of course you want to do that, but the calling is called